So, many people I know remember only one tank from a history, and it's Tiger 1. They would install the game, go for the German tree and pick the most straight line to the Tiger 1. As they play Panzer 38T, Panzer 38NA and Panzer 4, they will come with an idea of playing also other tanks than Tiger 1. They'll fully equip Panzer 4 and get enough experience to unlock one of its succeeders. Which one? I'm Neil and this is my take on German heavy line. So, we have two lines to pick from, one ends with Maus and second with E100. And as these lines are not that consistent, we will go tier by tier. So, tier 6, VK3001P as a Porsche, a designer of this tank. Yeah, same Porsche as a car maker and author of Volkswagen Beetle car. The first thing you'll notice, it's not a heavy, it's a medium tank. And it behaves like medium. It's actually pretty fast with its 60 km an hour and yet quite heavy weight, but it's not that much. Its armor values do not sound so bad until you realize all of it's quite flat and there are not many shots you are going to bounce. So tier 6 in Maus line is not really a heavy and doesn't behave like that. It's pure medium with all its features and downfalls. You can choose basically out of two guns. Tier 7 have lovely 8.8 cm and it's better for trading shots and have a better damage per minute. But tier 6 fits playstyle of VK3001P bit more as it shoots more often with bit less damage. You can easily switch targets and track enemies. Moving on to VK3601H. H like Henschel, designer of this tank as well. So, a heavy, slower, a better armored tier 7 gun is exactly same as VK3001P and basically it's the only logical option. It's still quite fast with its top speed of 51, just not as fast as the 30P. Armor wise, KV2 won't kill you right on the spot like 30P, and if you will play this tank well, you can actually bounce some shots. But this one doesn't feel like true heavy tank either. It's still something called heavium. Conclusion to the tier 6? Well, VK3601H, it's more like heavy, still behaves like medium, so it's heavium. 3001P, it's actually a medium, so I would choose VK3601H if I would have to, because there are better mediums even in German nation. Tier 7, different tier, different story, for some. This time, both tanks are heavy tanks, and it will stay like that till end of the lines. But let's start with a tank with less changes, and that's a Tiger 1. Tiger 1 feels like improved version of VK3601H, and that's basically because mentioned VK was the first prototype of Tiger 1. It is a bit slower and bit heavier, and that armor didn't improve much though. Same 100mm in front and 22mm on the sides and the rear. The main problem with Tiger 1 armor is I don't know a tank which won't penetrate it. So while it is a heavy tank, it feels very easy to kill. The gun is much better though, and combination of such gun, weak armor and rather decent mobility makes this tank pretty nice sniper and more like second line support tank. It's not really a brawler. These kind of words do not apply for a Tiger P. Why? It have an awesome armor. The frontal one, not really size, but the front is just awesome. It have 200mm of steel, and this is the reason why on Maus line everything changes. We are moving from a weak armored, fast medium tank to totally really slow, heavy and very well armored tank. The top speed is just a bit over half of VK30P, and as I mentioned earlier, the armor is just awesome. It's definitely first line heavy tank. And the gun, it is exactly same gun as on a Tiger 1. Everything is same. So, conclusion to tier 7. Tiger 1, not so great to me. It's still heavium, but feels quite easy to kill. Tiger P, oh yeah! Real heavy, real armor, really slow. My choice is here very easy, I would go for a Tiger P. Tier 8, another tier and another completely different story. Maybe not really completely different, it is basically the other way around. Tiger 2 is the heavy here with well sloped and well armored hull. It is good side scraper and basically does very well in bouncing shots. The gun is much better again, and I'd say this is the moment when this line turns from heavium to heavy. Tiger 2 feels like a proper heavy tank. Not something we can say about VK4502A again. Even though VK4502A and a Tiger 2 share same turret, its hull armor is weaker, not by much, but the small difference is so significant I can't really rely on its armor. I just don't feel this is well armored tank. Another thing this tank have, same as Tiger 2, is top speed, and it doesn't make sense either. VK4502A feels way faster and way nimble, so this tank feels more like a medium again. Like, what the hell? Moving on, the gun is just different. It's same caliber, 10.5 cm, but it has worse penetration and shoots more often. So if you can aim at weak spots, you should do a bit more than in Tiger 2. Conclusion to tier 8? Tiger 2 is real heavy, feels like heavy, the first line heavy. VK4502A is a medium, armored medium, even though it says heavy, or is it a second line heavy? Not sure yet. My choice? Easy, Tiger 2. Tier 9, an awesome tier. E75 is basically improved Tiger 2 in every heavy tank would want. Better and punchier gun and much better armor. It is very hard to penetrate it if played well. It does great when side scraping and it does quite well even on open spaces. The gun is really punchy with its 460 alpha damage, so this tank is great in trading shots. And 8 degrees of gun depression allows it to be used even on ridges. It is what Tiger 2 would want to be. It's one awesome machine. VK4502B, and what the hell? And again, B version of 4502 sounds like it should be very similar to A version, right? And it have basically nothing in common. Punchy with same gun as E75. Awesome, really awesome armor, and with combination of rear mounting turret makes it the best side scraper in tier 9. The armor is so good, it basically makes all other heavies just jealous. It's slow as hell, and even slower than Tiger P. Conclusion for tier 9? Well, VK4502B. What the hell change again? But other than that, it's pretty good heavy and definitely a tank I would pick for a city maps. E75? Just expected iteration in the line and so good I can call it the best tier 9 heavy tank. A tank I would take not only to cities, I would take it anywhere. Which one I would choose? This one is so easy in tier 9. E75 all the time. And here we are, at the end of the line. Tier 10, ultimate tier, E100 and mouse. So, let's start with E100 then. But where to start? With its whooping 15 cm gun? Well, it does have quite punch when it penetrates. For a tier 10 heavy, it is quite low penetrating gun and it is worth taking nice amount of premium ammo. Turret is big, lovely cube basically. 250mm lightly angled armor is kind of easy to penetrate for TDs, but when you don't shoot, turn it in 45 degrees angle and you will get impenetrable turret. Also mediums will have hard time getting through it. Hull is also well armored and a bit trollish, but the lower plate is still penetrable and big enough to hit from significant distances. This definitely feels like heavy, behaves like heavy, and for some reason I feel like couch to me. It is very comfy to play for some reason. I tried to find better word for it, but even though I'm not sitting physically in it, it feels comfortable to play. A cozy, heavy tank. Moving on to the mouse. It's heavier and slower than E100. It does have round front armor on a turret, and while it does sound good, it is not. If I would have to give a mouse a nickname, it would be a wall. A steel wall. It bounces shots like a pro. It is the ultimate side scraper, best in the game. It bounces shots all the time, and even the ones you didn't plan to bounce. The lower plate is so small, sometimes it's just hard to hit even from close range. There is only one downside to mouse's armor, and that's actually that mentioned front turret armor. It does have 240mm, and it is round, as I said, but rounds have an issue. You can always find that flat point at the round when it is just 240mm. If you miss it, you will not penetrate due to increased angle and increased armor, but when you hit it, you'll go in. And it really doesn't matter what vertical angle towards mouse you choose, because that spot is always visible and it's still 240mm. To mitigate this while reloading, you can just turn your turret in mouse about 30 degrees to the sides, and basically no one will penetrate that angled armor. But when the mouse wants to shoot, it always have to show its spot, and that's always its weakness. Conclusion to tier 10. E100 feels like a great all-around heavy tank. I feel very comfortable playing. Maybe it's because of the 15cm gun, I don't know. Mouse, on the other hand, feels more like serious and feels it can do more. Its armor feels more reliable, and while the gun does less damage per shot, it does it more reliably as well. Which one to pick? And this is the hardest one. The comfy E100 versus Pro mouse. I would probably pick a Pro as a better tank. I'll answer one last question. Which line to pick? I'd say do both. Again, like in previous video, so you'll experience both lines. But if I would have to pick one, I would probably choose E100. Why? Well, while VK3601H and Tiger 1 feels a bit underwhelming, the rest of the line is pretty cool, and especially when you are new to the game. E100 is very consistent line when you learn a playstyle and keep improving it. The mouse line lets you learn new playstyle every tier, apart tier 10, which plays in very similar way as tier 9. Wow, quite a lot of speech, isn't it? If you made it to this point, I'm very happy, and thank you for that. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down, but if you do, please give it a like and subscribe. I'll see you in other videos, and in the meantime I wish you a pleasant day and great battles in World of Tanks Blitz.